K-12 learners, welcome to today's Business Studies lesson. My name is Charmaine Maleka. This lesson is brought to you by the Northern Cape Department of Education in collaboration with Pagama Research. Today we're going to be looking at business roles, which is your paper 2. And we're going to be doing the subtopic of social responsibility, corporate social investment, which is CSI. And we're also going to be looking at corporate social responsibility, which is CSR. Okay, so I'm going to need you to have your notes out and all your material all out so that we can start working. So the lesson objectives for today is, by the end of this lesson, you should be able to define or elaborate on the meaning of social responsibility. You should be able to explain the relationship or the link between social responsibility and the triple bottom line. You should also be able to suggest ways in which businesses, projects can contribute towards the community, charitable contributions to NGOs, involvement in community education and employment, employee volunteer programs. Okay. You also need to be able to identify, to name the following socioeconomic issues that will be given to you in scenarios. The socioeconomic issues that we're going to focus on, there's only 3 of them. So you need to be able to identify HIV and AIDS, unemployment, and poverty from scenarios or statements that will be given to you. Okay, you also need to be able to recommend or suggest ways in which businesses can deal with the above mentioned socioeconomic issues. You need to be able to explain or recommend, suggest ways in which businesses can contribute time and effort in improving the well-being of employees and communities. Okay, and then also you need to be able to, under social investment, corporate social investment or CSI, you need to be able to elaborate on the meaning of CSI or define CSI. You need to be able to describe or explain the purpose of CSI. You need to be able to outline or name CSI focus areas. Okay. And then you also need to be able to explain or distinguish or differentiate between CSR and CSI. You also need to be able to explain, discuss, or evaluate or analyze the impacts, which are obviously the advantages and disadvantages of CSI on businesses and communities. Okay, let's look at the common terminologies that you'll come across during this lesson. So you're going to come across the word social responsibility. So what is social responsibility? We're going to discuss this in detail. However, you need to know that social responsibility is an ethical viewpoint that every individual or organization has an obligation to benefit society as a whole. Okay, you're also going to come across the word corporate. Okay, so corporate refers to a business, can be an organization or a firm. Okay, corporate citizenship. So corporate citizenship is the company's obligation to conduct itself as a person by doing what people would do to help other people or the environment. Okay, then we have triple bottom line. Triple bottom line refers to the 3 P's, which is profit, people, and the planet. We're also going to be discussing it in detail later. Okay, these are the other terminologies. So when we're talking about an NGO, we're talking about a non-governmental organization that is non-profit orientated, meaning that they operate not to make profit. Okay, then we also have contemporary socio-economic issues. These are current societal and economic factors that might actually impact businesses. So all the societal factors and economic factors that impact businesses will then be classified as contemporary socio-economic issues. Okay, then we also have sustainability. So sustainability means that using the resources in such a manner that future generations will be able to use them. That is what sustainability is. Okay, and then another terminology that you're going to come across, and we're going to discuss it in detail as well, is corporate social responsibility, which is a continuous commitment from a business to act ethically and contribute towards economic development. Okay, we also have corporate social investment, which is projects that are not part of normal business activities, but are designed and aimed to benefit the community. Okay, you're also going to come across the word stakeholder. So what is a stakeholder? So a stakeholder includes any individual, can be an organization that relates to the business in some way, or it can be directly or it can be indirectly. And this individual and organization, they're actually affected by the activities that the business does. That's what a stakeholder is. Okay, now let's look at the meaning of social responsibility. What is social responsibility? You can see already the word social has to do with what? It has to do with people, right? Now, what is social responsibility? So social responsibility, it is an obligation to work towards improving the welfare of who? Of society. So by society, we're referring to people. The first unit that we're going to look at is social responsibility. Now let us look at the meaning of social responsibility. Already the word says social. So we know social has to do with who? With people. So what is it that businesses need to do in terms of social responsibility? What is the meaning of social responsibility? Now, the meaning of social responsibility, it is an obligation to work towards improving the welfare of who? Of society, which is people in general. Okay, so meaning that as a business, you have an obligation to ensure that you improve the welfare or the well-being of society. Social responsibility also is an ethical viewpoint that says that every individual or organization has an obligation to benefit society as a whole. So meaning that it doesn't necessarily focus only on businesses. It also focuses on who? Individuals. Organizations also has an obligation to make sure that they benefit society as a whole. Okay. Again, social responsibility is the responsibility of every citizen, every individual or organization to contribute towards the well-being of the community. Not only the community, but also towards making sure that we take care of the environment which we live in. So this responsibility can take form in different ways. Let's look at the different ways. So social responsibility can take in a form of avoiding any actions that could harm the environment or any actions that could harm the society. So here we're talking about instances like your pollution. So if you want to do social responsibility, we must make sure that we avoid anything that might harm the environment or might actually harm people. When we pollute as an organization or as individuals, it therefore harms the environment and also harms the people around them. Okay, and then another thing that we can do, social responsibility takes form of acting in ways that improve other people's quality of life. Okay, it is also a duty of all businesses to maintain a balance between the economy and the environment. Right, then we have the triple bottom line. Now let's look at the triple bottom line. What is the triple bottom line? The triple bottom line means that businesses should focus on profit, or rather known as the economy. It should also focus on people or social, and should also focus on planet or environment. So triple bottom line is known as the triple P, which is people, planet, and profit. Okay, now when you're talking about the triple bottom line, this is an accounting framework that consists of what we already mentioned, the three elements, the triple P, which is people, planet, and profit. So you must know that the triple bottom line is an accounting framework that consists of the triple P. Okay, now many businesses have adopted this framework to evaluate their performance to create greater business value. So many businesses use this framework in order to actually evaluate their performance on people, their performance on the planet, and also on profits. Okay, also the triple bottom line is a way to measure business performance by evaluating the social, the environmental, and the economic success of the business. Okay, now let us look at the relationship between social responsibility and the triple bottom line. Now we're going to align the two concepts, which is social responsibility and triple bottom line. Let's look at their relationship. The first element, we have profit, which is known as economic. Now, in terms of profit, this is what it means. It means that businesses should not only focus on profit. They should not charge higher prices, but should also invest in what? CSI projects. And remember, we're trying to create a relationship between social responsibility and triple bottom line. So what it means essentially is that as a business, your main focus should not only be making money, but you must make sure that you involve yourself in CSI projects, which then benefit who? People. Okay, again, in terms of profit, businesses should not make a profit at the expense of the community as a whole. So you must ensure that all your business activities, whatever that you do that generates income or money for you as a business, is not at the expense of the community. It does not harm the community. Okay, the second element that we're going to look at is people or social. What's the relationship between social responsibility and people? So what it means is that business operations should not have a negative impact on, number one, people, right? It should not exploit people in general. Here we're talking about who? Community members, the society at large. Also, business operations should not negatively impact on the employees, should not negatively impact on who? On customers, should not negatively impact on community. Okay, another thing is that businesses should engage or invest in sustainable community programs, projects that will definitely uplift the community. For instance, we have ShopRite. So what ShopRite does is it donates a lot of equipments that are used for farming. So projects in communities where they actually farm it for the benefit of the community. So they'll give things like your water tanks, the seeds that are needed, and everything that might actually be needed to run those projects. ShopRite also have some projects as well where they actually have soup kitchens where they feed the people or the community members in general who need food. So this is how you align social responsibility and the triple bottom line. Okay, so making sure that you engage in projects that actually benefit people or the community. Okay, and then also in terms of people, businesses need to make sure that they improve the lifestyle or the quality of life of their human resources, which is employees. Businesses also need to make sure that they improve the lifestyle or the quality of life of their human resources or employees. And how do you do that? As a business, you need to make sure that you pay your employees a living wage, meaning that the minimum wage, pay them enough money so that their standard of living can actually improve. The next element that we are going to look at is the planet or the environment. Now, how do we relate it to social responsibility? This is what businesses need to do. Businesses should make sure that they do not exhaust resources or they do not harm the environment for purposes of making profit. So meaning that businesses should not harm the environment in the name of making money. Okay, and then also they may support energy efficient or eco-friendly products or eco-friendly production methods. So here we can look at the restaurant industry. We look at restaurants like your McDonald's. So McDonald's currently offers paper bags instead of plastic because this is eco-friendly. Remember, paper is biodegradable. And then they also offer paper straws instead of plastic straws, which is actually eco-friendly. So in order for businesses to make sure that they do not do any damage on the environment, they need to make sure that they support energy efficient or eco-friendly products. Okay, businesses also need to make sure that they do what? They recycle, they reuse waste. For example, packaging from recycled material. Okay, businesses can do that. Okay, let's look at ways in which a business project can contribute towards the community. Okay, so these are the business projects that are aimed at social responsibility and can contribute towards the community. This is what businesses can do. Let's look at the following ways. Businesses can have charitable contributions to NGOs, which focus on the needs of the community. Okay, an example there can be Woolworths. So we know that Woolworths mostly donate to orphanages. They donate food to orphanages. And then businesses can also make sure that they have employee volunteer programs where employees contribute to the community without getting paid. So this can be, for example, the employees of a particular organization or of a particular business visit an old age home, or they go around cleaning the environment, or they actually go to schools and paint, and which some of these businesses have been doing over the years in order to make sure that they do something that benefits the community. Okay, and then another way is businesses can train people within the community, especially those who are unemployed. They can give them a skill that will make them employable. Businesses can also make sure that the management actually mentors new business owners to improve their efficiency and increase their profits. Okay, then the second part that we're going to look at under social responsibility is socio-economic issues. So we're going to focus on 3 socio-economic issues. The first one is unemployment, then we have poverty, and then the last one we're going to focus on is HIV and AIDS. So you need to be able to identify these socio-economic issues either from statements or from given scenarios. Okay, you need to know how to identify the socio-economic issues, but also you need to know the strategies that businesses can use to deal with the socio-economic issues. The first set of strategies that we're going to look at is strategies to deal with HIV and AIDS. Okay, so this is what businesses can do. Businesses can offer counseling programs for those who are infected by HIV and AIDS and those who are also affected. Businesses can also conduct workshops on HIV and AIDS programs or have campaigns on HIV and AIDS. I think we see this every year on the 1st of December, where it is known as World AIDS Day. Okay. Businesses can also make sure that they roll out ARV treatment programs for the infected employees. Businesses can also encourage employees to join HIV support groups. Another way to deal with HIV and AIDS is that businesses can develop strategies to deal with the stigma and the discrimination. Because remember, there's still a lot of stigma around HIV and AIDS. So businesses can make sure that they have strategies on how to deal with it. Okay. Businesses can also make sure that they participate in HIV and AIDS prevention programs that are implemented in the community. Okay, they must also support non-governmental organizations or organizations that are doing HIV and AIDS initiatives. Okay, now let's look at ways to deal with unemployment. What are the strategies that businesses can use? Businesses can make sure that they provide skills development programs through learnerships. These are the strategies to make sure that we at least reduce or cap unemployment. Okay, businesses can also offer bursaries to the community to improve the level of education, and in return, the level of education might actually give them an employable skill. Okay, businesses can also create jobs for members of the community. So when you are looking to employ, you should be looking at employing people around that particular community. Okay. And then also businesses can provide entrepreneurial programs that can promote self-employment, meaning that teach people how to become entrepreneurs. And with that, they will be able to open their own businesses. In that instance, it means that now we are actually dealing with the issue of unemployment. Okay, businesses can also support existing small businesses so that they can create more employment opportunities. Okay, now let's look at strategies to deal with poverty. What do we do as businesses? How do we deal with poverty? So as a business, we can make sure that we invest in starting small, medium, and micro enterprises that can be the business's competitor, buyer, or supplier. Okay, and then also we can make sure that we attract the best employees by being socially responsible and offering the best volunteering programs. Another thing that we can do as businesses to deal with poverty is to make sure that we support poverty alleviation programs that are offered by the government. Okay, and then also we can make sure that we donate money or food parcels to local NGOs. I think this is what we spoke about already, the fact that Woolworths is donating to several organizations throughout the country. This is an example of how they deal with poverty. Okay. Right, and then let's look at how businesses can contribute to improving the well-being of employees. Because remember, if your employees are happy and they're well taken care of, productivity increases and therefore it benefits the business. So let's look at ways in which businesses can actually contribute towards making sure that the well-being of employees is improved. Okay, this is what businesses can do. Businesses can provide recreational facilities for employees. For example, have a gym in the office where your employees, when they knock off, they can just go and exercise. Okay, businesses can also provide transport for employees who work unusually long hours. Again, we see this in the restaurant industry. So because some of the restaurants operate 24 hours, you'll have restaurants like a McDonald's that actually offer transportation for those employees who work awkward hours. Maybe they're knocking off at 2 a.m. in the morning, then they'll provide transportation when they knock off. Okay. And then also businesses can provide for employees participation in decision making that actually affects them. So bottom line, what it means is that involve employees in decision making, especially decisions that are going to affect the employees. Okay. Businesses can also make sure that they offer annual medical assessments to their employees. They can also make sure that they offer support programs for employees that are infected and affected by HIV and AIDS. Businesses can also offer financial assistance in the case of any hardship that are caused by unexpected medical costs. Okay, and then another thing that businesses can do, in order to improve the well-being of employees, as a business, you must make sure that you pay fair wages or salaries to workers based on the nature of their job. Okay, you can also make sure that you pay for fair bonuses based on business earnings and also as acknowledgement for hard work and commitment. So when you look at these 2 points, the key word there is pay fair. So when you are studying, you can focus on these 2 points. To remember that, first of all, businesses must make sure that they pay what? Fair wages. Businesses must also make sure that they pay what? Fair bonuses. Okay. Another thing that businesses can do is make sure that they have trauma debriefing, counseling, and assistance available for any employee who might require any of those services. Okay, they can also make childcare facilities available on the premises for working mothers in the business. This would actually make it a lot easier for working mothers and would definitely improve their well-being. Okay, and then how can businesses contribute towards the well-being of employees? Again, businesses can also make sure that they improve the general quality of life of their community. Okay, and then they can also ensure that the products that they supply do not harm consumers or the environment. Hence, when you buy certain products that have a possibility of harming you or might be of danger, you'll find some of these signs on that particular packaging, because it is the responsibility of the business to make sure that the products do not harm the customers. You look at, for example, lunch bar as well. When you buy a lunch bar and look at the packaging of lunch bar, it says warning for allergies if you are allergic to peanuts. So that is another way of making sure that they do not harm customers. Okay, businesses must also refrain from engaging in illegal or harmful practices such as employing children under the legal age or selling illegal substances. And then these are the other ways that businesses can do to make sure that they improve the well-being of employees. They can make sure that they participate in community projects that are involving HIV and AIDS, education, counseling, and other meaningful causes. Okay, businesses can also donate money to community projects in order to uplift the community. Okay, and then they can also provide recreational or sports facilities to promote social cohesion or healthy activities. Again, we see it a lot in a lot of communities where businesses sponsor those nice park gyms or recreational facilities in the community. Okay, now we get into the second unit of our lesson, corporate social responsibility. What is corporate social responsibility? Corporate social responsibility is the way the business manage their process to affect their stakeholders in a positive way. Okay, and also what you need to know about CSR is that it's a continuous commitment by the business to behave ethically and also to contribute towards economic development while improving the quality of life of the community. Okay, so let's summarize that. So what we mean by CSR is this is a continuous commitment. When you say continuous commitment, it means you do not donate once to the community and then it ends there. It becomes a program that is continuous. It's a commitment that you make continuously. So to say, I as a business, I'm going to behave ethically, and I'm going to make sure that I contribute towards economic development while I'm improving the quality of life. So basically, the meaning of CSR has 4 things that you need to know. The fact that it's a continuous commitment in order to do what? To behave ethically, and also in order to make sure that we contribute towards what? Economic development. And while we're contributing to economic development, we are also making sure that we improve the quality of life of the community. Okay. Another way of defining CSR is that CSR is the way a business conducts its operations in a manner that is ethical and morally acceptable with regards to the use of human, physical, and their funds. By physical, we mean the environment. Okay. And then also you can define CSR by saying a business voluntarily takes steps to improve the quality of life for employees and their families and the community. So in a nutshell, CSR is about improving the what? The quality of life. Okay, another way of defining CSR is that corporate social responsibility is an obligation. When we say something is an obligation, it means you need to do it. So this obligation is required by law. And this obligation as well benefits both the business and the society. So CSR is an obligation that is required by law, and this obligation benefits both the business and the society. Okay, let's look at the purpose of CSR. Why do we have CSR? So CSR aims at creating a safe working environment for employees, number one. That's the purpose. That's why we have CSR. CSR programs are also internal programs that businesses use to comply with the law and ethics. It goes back to what we just said, the fact that CSR is required by law. So one of the purposes is to make sure that businesses implement CSR programs in order to do what? To comply with laws. Okay, again, one of the purposes of CSR is that businesses seek to promote public interest and do away with harmful practices without the need for any formal legislation. Okay, another purpose is the key areas of concern are protecting the environment. So when we're doing CSR, the focus will be on protecting the environment, number one. It will also be on making sure that we protect and we promote the well-being of employees from the community and the civil society in general. Another purpose of CSR programs, these are activities that the business undertakes to contribute positively to the community in which they operate in. Okay, and then also CSR may take place in a form of monetary donation to support local organizations. Okay, now let's look at the components of CSR. The first component is the environment. So let's go back a little bit. What is a component? So when we say a component, basically we mean what should CSR consist of? Meaning that as a business, when you want to engage in CSR activities, what is it that you need to focus on? So you can focus on the environment. You can focus on the ethical corporate social investment. You can also focus on the health and safety. You can focus on corporate governance. You can also focus on business ethics, employment equity, supply chain or distribution channel, employees and customers, and also you can focus on the community. Okay, now let's look at the impacts, the advantages and disadvantages on CSR. Now, what you need to take note of is that these are the advantages and disadvantages for both CSR and CSI. Okay, let's start with the advantages. What are the advantages of CSR and CSI? The advantage is that it promotes customer loyalty, resulting in what? In more sales. So if you are benefiting the community in a positive way, this creates what? Customer loyalty. I'm going to make an example of Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola is known for a lot of their CSR initiatives. They have this initiative called Business in a Box. So what Business in a Box is, Coca-Cola donates a full container that is fully equipped for small businesses in communities. Right. Now, because this is benefiting the community, one of the advantages that Coca-Cola has is that it promotes customer loyalty, resulting in more sales. So customers are more likely to buy Coca-Cola products because it benefits them positively as a business, as a company. Okay, and then another advantage is that CSI projects promote teamwork within businesses. So it ensures that people engage and people work together. Okay, another advantage is that the business enjoys the support of the community. Definitely, if you are benefiting the community in a positive way, you will get the support from the community. Okay, another advantage is that CSI helps to attract investors because of the increased profits. If more people are loyal to the company because it's benefiting them positively, it means obviously the profits of the company will increase. And any investor wants to invest in a business that is making profit. Okay. And then also, one of the advantages is that it improves the health of its employees. Okay, again, looking at the advantages. Another advantage is that it assists in solving socioeconomic issues like poverty and unemployment. So some of these programs that businesses engage in actually helps to resolve issues of poverty, issues of unemployment as well. Okay, and then CSI projects may also be used as a marketing strategy to promote their products. So when we are promoting our products, we can actually use our CSR projects to say, hey, look at us, we are this business and this is what we are doing to benefit the community or to benefit the environment. Okay, and then also it gives businesses tax advantages such as a tax reduction. So that's one of the advantages, the fact that businesses get tax rebates if they're involved in CSR or CSI projects. Okay, employees feel as if they're making a difference in working for that particular business. Let's make an example of a business that donates their time, where employees on every weekend, let's say, they go to an old age home and they help around in that particular community. This gives the employees the feeling of, I'm making a difference, and I'm making a difference because I'm working in this particular business because they're doing good for the community. Okay. And then also, CSI projects may actually attract experienced employees. And when they attract experienced employees, it means that these experienced employees, when they start working for the company, then will see an increase in what? In productivity. Okay, let's look at the disadvantages, the negatives. What are the disadvantages of CSR projects on businesses? So we're focusing on disadvantages on who? On businesses. Okay, the first one, it is very difficult to accurately measure the effectiveness of social investment. It's very difficult to measure whether you have actually changed the lives of the people in that particular community or not. Okay, and then also another disadvantage is that most managers are not trained to handle social programs. They actually do not have experience in handling social programs, and this thing can come with a lot of disadvantages for the business. Okay, and then businesses also find it difficult to adhere to legislation that is governing CSI. Another disadvantage is that detailed reports must be drawn up, which can be very time consuming. So there's probably some employee who's supposed to draw up a report, and when they're doing this, they're actually wasting the time, the productivity time in that business. Okay, another disadvantage of CSI on businesses is that CSI activities distract business focus from its core business functions. Now we're no longer focusing on what we're supposed to do as a business, but now we're focusing on doing what? On CSI activities or on CSI projects, which is a disadvantage. Okay, and then shareholders may receive less dividends as some of the profits is spent on CSI. So here we are, we're a business, we decide that we are going to build recreational grounds in the community. And then we spend some of our profits on there. So it becomes a disadvantage because now shareholders will receive less dividends because we spend some of the profits on our CSI projects. Okay, and then businesses may not be supported, or customers may not necessarily buy their products. This might decrease in what? In sales. So being involved in CSI projects doesn't necessarily mean that all the time you'll get the support from the community. Customers might actually decide not to buy your products, and this will obviously decrease what? Sales. Okay, and then small and medium enterprises find it difficult to implement CSI programs because remember, their profit margins are not that big. So it's difficult for them to actually have CSI programs. Okay, and then also social spending reduces business or economic efficiency, which makes it less competitive. Okay, now our third unit, corporate social investment. So you'll realize that the difference between CSR and CSI is the fact that CSR is corporate social responsibility and this one is corporate social investment. Now, what is corporate social investment? It is when a business commits what? Money. And also the business commits resources, and they also commit their what? Their time to a specific project that will improve the lives of people. So with CSR, they are not specific as to what they actually commit. So with CSR, it says that it's a continuous commitment. But now with CSI, we see that the business here commits what? They commit their money, They commit their resources and they also commit their time into specific projects that actually improve the lives of people in general or people in the community. Okay, and then also the projects are not directly for purposes of increasing company profits. That is not the purpose. Okay, again, CSI, it is the money that the business spends on the community to improve the standard of living of the community members. Okay, and then these projects also have a strong developmental approach and utilize company resources to benefit and uplift communities. So grade 12s, I'm sure you'll realize that from corporate social investment, the one thing that commonly appears from the meaning is the fact that they're spending what? Money. Right. Okay, and then let's look at the purpose of CSI. What is the purpose? So CSI aims at contributing towards sustainable development of immediate communities. Another purpose is that CSI is enforceable by law and government requires businesses to make CSI contributions. Okay, and then CSI projects also play a positive role in the development of communities. Right. Another purpose is that CSI reveals a business's attitude towards the community in which it operates. Okay, CSI projects are also long-term investments. Okay, it is relevant to the South African context where socio-economic upliftment is such a priority. So CSI projects are so important, especially in South Africa, because we have so many socio-economic issues that we deal with that are priority. For example, currently we are experiencing high unemployment. So these CSI projects are very important in addressing some of these socio-economic issues. Okay, let's look at the CSI focus areas, meaning that if you as a business decide that you want to have a CSI project, what is it that you need to focus on? Number one, you need to focus on the community. The main aim is to benefit who? The community, to contribute positively to the community. You also need to focus on rural development. You can also choose to focus on employees, and you can choose to focus also on the environment. So there's 4 CSI focus areas. Okay, and then let's look at examples of CSI projects. So this is what you can do as a business in terms of CSI. You can donate to support local organizations. You can also be involved in conversation projects. I think we're seeing some of the companies in certain communities where they have conversation projects with the youth, either in schools or they decide to go to the community. Okay, you can also deliver services that government is unable to deliver. You can also help to build infrastructure. In certain areas, like in rural areas, some of the rural areas are underdeveloped. So if you are thinking of a CSI project as a business, you can either help build infrastructure in such areas. Okay, and then also you can invest in job creation projects. You can provide basic adult education. You can also teach entrepreneurial skills, which will be helping with the issue of unemployment. Okay, now the difference between corporate social responsibility and corporate social investment. Let's look at the major differences between the two. The first one, with CSR, the intention is to change business practices. That's the intention. But with corporate social investment, here the business is actively committing money, their resources, in order to do what? To uplift the community. Again, another difference. CSR, the focus here is on increasing what? The image and the profits. With CSI, however, the focus is on the upliftment of the community without any return on investment. Now, let's put this into perspective. So whenever you see a company that is engaged in any project that benefits the community and they take pictures, then we know they're doing what? CSR. Because with CSR, the main focus is on increasing the what? The image. And we know if we have a good image, our profits might also increase. But whenever you see someone actually doing something good, it can be a business, can be an individual, can be an organization, and they do something good in the community, and there are no pictures involved, and they do not want any recognition for the good deed, then we know that they're actually doing what? Corporate social investment. Because we know with CSI, the focus is on what? Uplifting the community without any return on investment. Meaning that you just want to uplift the community and you're not expecting anything in return. Okay, and then another difference with CSR, it is often intended as a marketing strategy. So when we have CSR programs, we also use them to market ourselves as business. However, with CSI, the intention here is solely to uplift the community through social development. Okay, then another difference between the two concepts is that with CSR, the projects are usually linked to the business. However, with CSI, the projects are external to the business. So remember, CSR projects are usually linked to the business, so to what already the business is doing. Okay, so the last difference is that with CSR, the projects that the business undertakes are usually linked to what the business is already doing. So here we have KFC as an example. So KFC has this initiative where they ask their customers to donate to rent, and with the true rent that is received, what they do is they actually go to different communities and actually donate with food or feed hungry children. Okay, so already the project that they are doing as part of their CSR is linked to what they do as a business. And then with CSI, the projects are external to the business. So what does it mean? It means that whatever projects that the business does is not linked to what the business is already doing. So here an example would then be ShopRite. So we know ShopRite has this project where they donate to community gardens. So ShopRite is not in agriculture. It's actually a retailer and they sell groceries. So it means that is actually one of their CSI projects. So that's how you differentiate between the two. We know with CSR, the projects are linked to what the business is doing. With CSI, however, the projects are external to what the business does. And also here, the main aim is to have strong developmental approach. Okay, so we, by the end of our lesson, and I want us to do this activity. So let's do the activity real quickly. So question 1, it says name 4 CSI focus areas. Okay, the 4, and here's your solution. We have community, rural development, employees, and then we have the environment. So if you want to remember this when you are studying, you can always make a nice acronym and say, you know, that your CSI focus areas are REES. So this will be your rural development, this will be your employees, this will be your environment, and then the last one will be your community. So that's how you remember the focus areas of CSI. Okay, the second question. Let's go to the second question. Identify the triple bottom line components that were applied by Imvula Limited in its statement below. The first statement, Imvula Limited distributed food parcels to the local community. Let's go back to the triple bottom line again. Remember the triple bottom line, we have the triple what? The triple P, which is people, planet, and then we also have profit. Now you need to go back and analyze the statement. Imvula Limited distributed food parcels to the local community. So which component is it? It's people or social, because you can see it has the local what? Community. Okay. The second statement, so they produce eco-friendly products, and we know that the component there would be planet or the environment. Okay, so the third statement, we have some of the surplus income was used to build a community center. So the component there would be economic and profit, because remember, under economic or profit, it says that businesses should not make profit at the expense of the community members, but must make sure that the community also benefits. Okay, let's go to our next question. So 1.3, we have a scenario. So there is our scenario. I'm just going to read the scenario for you. So Gamma Events is a popular business that caters for different social events. So the management of GE uses some of their profits to buy antiretroviral treatment for their infected employees. They also offer entrepreneurial programs for people who are not economically active in the community. So the question then says to you, identify 2 socio-economic issues that are applicable to the scenario above. This is the first part of the question. Then the second part of the question says, motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario above. Then this is our solution. So when you go back, you realize that in the scenario, the first socioeconomic issue that we have is HIV and AIDS. So you get 2 marks for saying that. And then the motivation will be that the management of GE uses some of their profits to buy antiretroviral treatment for their infected employees. Okay, then our second answer is unemployment. And our motivation would be they also offer entrepreneurial programs for people who are not economically active in the community. So for identifying the socioeconomic issue, you get 2 marks each. And then for the motivation, you get 1 mark. Okay. And then this is our last part of the activity. So the question says, suggest ways in which businesses can contribute time and effort in improving the well-being of employees for 8 marks. So let's look at our solutions. What is it that businesses can do? We discussed this, that businesses can provide recreational facilities for employees. So for mentioning that, you get 2 marks. And then businesses can also allow flexible working hours in order to enhance what? Productivity. And then businesses can provide transport for employees who work unusual long hours. Businesses can also make sure that they provide for employees participation in decision making that affects them. Businesses can also make sure that they conduct team building sessions to improve employees' morale. Okay, this is what businesses can do as well. They can offer annual medical assessments to workers. They can also offer support programs for employees infected and affected by HIV and AIDS. And then businesses can also offer financial assistance in the case of any hardship caused by unexpected medical costs. Businesses can also make sure that they pay fair wages or salaries to the workers based on the nature of their work. Okay, and then they can also pay fair bonuses based on business earnings as an acknowledgement for hard work and commitment. Businesses can also make sure that they establish coaching and mentoring programs for junior employees. They can make sure that working conditions should include safety, medical, canteen facilities, benefits like housing, leave, retirement, and etc. Okay, they can also give time to staff to get involved in projects they choose. They can encourage staff to stay fit and healthy by getting them involved in health activities to minimize stress and substance abuse or obesity. Businesses can also make sure that they encourage employees to attend capacity building workshops or training programs, staff development programs, or team development programs. And then any other relevant answer on how businesses can contribute time and effort in improving the well-being of employees. Okay, so let us summarize what we have done today. So what we have discussed today in this lesson is the meaning of social responsibility. We then discussed the triple bottom line and how it links to social responsibility, or the relationship between social responsibility and triple bottom line. We also discussed the socioeconomic issues, and remember, grade 12, we're only focusing on 3 socioeconomic issues, which is poverty, unemployment, and HIV and AIDS. Then we also discussed the strategies to deal with the above mentioned socioeconomic issues, and then we also discussed the meaning of CSR and the meaning of CSI. We discussed the impacts of CSI and CSR. Thank you so much for tuning in to the lesson. We'll see you next time on the next lesson.